Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Louise Hubar begins now.
An interim mental health service set up in the wake of the St Helens Hospital closure has been criticised as woefully inadequate. Beds are not easily available at the Royal Hobart Hospital's mother and baby unit, leaving some to go without care.
Since the closure of St Helens Hospital, healthcare professionals say there's a gap in supports for struggling mums.
There are quite a few very small scattered services around the state, but there's just not enough. And so a lot of people are going into it with fear and even thinking, is now a safe time for me to have another baby?
In response to the closure, the state government set up a 3-bed mother and baby unit at the Royal Hobart Hospital, but Labor's raising concerns about availability.
Now, our understanding is that over the last 6 weeks, there has been 1 bed available at one time and that there are long wait times for referrals to access those beds.
The department confirmed today the beds are being opened progressively to ensure safety. One is still to come, and with high demand, there's calls for more.
As they always say, a stitch in time saves 9. And so the more difficult it is for people to access these services in a timely fashion, the more these problems snowball and escalate.
We've been working with St Helens Private Hospital and indeed other service providers to support the need in our community.
Adding public mother and baby units could soon be seen statewide. Health is sure to figure in Parliament this week, along with further scrutiny of the energy portfolio. The Upper House returns from its winter break this week. Members will be debating amendments to the Projects of State Significance pathway after they pass the Lower House. Being voted through would allow a second parliamentary vote to finalise the Mac Point Stadium.
It's a very positive step forward in terms of securing huge investment in terms of the Macquarie Point Stadium, associated infrastructure, precinct plan and indeed securing the 19th AFL licence.
Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
In breaking news, there will be a new leader of government business in the House of Assembly tomorrow. Attorney General Elise Archer will take over the job from Nick Street. Mr Street says due to his own health and well-being, it's the right time to step back from the role. The Premier says he'll await the Commission of Inquiry's final report to see any potential criminal referrals. Along with other findings, notifications to police will be covered in the document. The recent Robodebt Royal Commission contained a sealed chapter with recommendations for prosecution.
I will wait for the recommendations and look forward to the report, and I detailed in Parliament just last week in terms of the timeline from here leading up to December. We'll have an interim response.
It's particularly important the government does lay out the plans in terms of recommendations and the role of the DPP and any other institutions.
In Victoria, a special investigator's office was set up to examine evidence and potential prosecutions relating to the Lawyer X inquiry. Police are still on the hunt for a firearm-wielding car thief after a Mazda MX-5 was stolen at Devonport yesterday afternoon. The car's driver received minor injuries when the offender hit him over the head with the gun. The stolen vehicle was then used in a shooting incident at Latrobe. Despite a significant search, including from the air, neither the man or car has been found. Antisocial behaviour at a Kingborough shopping centre will be the focus of a major new police crackdown. It follows an increase in reports of shoplifting, theft and property damage within the area.
Shining a harsh spotlight on crime at the Channel Court shopping centre.
It's predominantly shoplifting, unsociable behaviour and some damage to property.
Kingston Police have increased their visibility and presence in and around the centre between 3 to 5 o'clock on weekday afternoons in an effort to make the space safer. And there's a particular group in their sights.
A small cohort of active recidivist offenders, predominantly youths and young adults. We know who they are.
It's a situation some shoppers and traders are all too familiar with.
It makes everyone feel unsettled and everyone stops, looks.
Kingborough Council has backed the move following an increase in property crimes across homes and sheds around Blackmans Bay and Kingston's central suburbs. That's despite an overall drop in the number of reported crimes in the region over the past 20 years.
We're doing everything we can to put in place a number of youth programs to make sure that we've got things to entertain our young people in Kingborough, and that we have a community safety committee.
Some retailers have told 7 Tasmania News they've been recently affected by what they've called youth crime, while others say it's not as bad as it was this time last year. Police are now calling to community members to be part of the solution, urging them to report offenders straight away, no matter how small.
Give us the opportunity to interdict with that suspect before it's committed.
Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's visitor economy is being given another boost with a $12 million strategy hoping to give our tourism industry a roadmap to success. The plan comes as passenger numbers at one of our major airports take off.
Touching down in Tasmania, whether for work or pleasure, arrival numbers at Launceston Airport are surging, and they're spending up big.
We've seen the passenger numbers and tourism numbers surge back with up to $3.8 billion worth of tourism spend here in the state alone.
Welcoming more than 1.5 times as many visitors as last financial year, and on par with pre-pandemic levels.
Every passenger that comes here represents strong economic growth for the state.
With tourists spending more time on the Apple Isles since COVID, keeping the sector sustainable has become key. The government and industry heavyweights gathering to release its long-term strategy.
It focuses on our clear needs to continue to grow sustainably our tourism and visitor economy sector over the course of the next 10 years and more.
It's about ensuring and improving the notion of Tasmania being a year-round destination.
The state's annual tourism conference giving businesses the tools to make a positive impact.
What is special about Tassie is what gets visitors here, but we want to protect it as well as an industry, and that's exactly what our 10-year vision is all about.
But the plan also needs to address workforce challenges and the difficulties some businesses have in operating in our regions.
Of the 8 key strategies, a key part of it is regional dispersal and ensuring that people not just benefit in the big cities, but also the regions do as well.
Annie Green, 7 Tasmania News.
A funeral will be held in Canberra tomorrow to celebrate the life of former Tasmanian Governor Sir Philip Bennett. Sir Philip died earlier this month in Victoria, aged 94. He was instrumental in mediating the outcome of the inconclusive 1989 state election, which saw the first Labor Green government come to power. Tasmania is leading the charge on electric vehicles, with registrations doubling in the past year. However, the sales surge is causing growing pains, with experts calling for all levels of government to better manage their growing popularity.
Getting plugged into the future of transport. Tasmania's electric vehicle owners have no regrets about flicking the switch away from petrol.
If I was still driving my Mazda 6, I would have put about $9,000 worth of petrol into it. And I've put about $900 worth of electricity into it.
While only a few thousand of the state's 700,000 vehicles are electric, consumer habits are changing. New RACT figures show local EV registrations are up 97% between January 2022 and January 2023. Sales also up 56% this year.
That is a pleasing result. Clearly Tasmanians are embracing the idea.
Seeing it shift from being an enthusiast group to the mums and dads. So the shift is definitely on.
However, the dream of owning one remains out of reach for many in Tasmania due to price and supply. The state's peak motoring body says our road tax system needs to change.
Internal combustion engine vehicles, they pay a fuel excise, which helps pay for our road infrastructure. Now, EVs don't at the moment.
The government urged to spark consumer interest.
It would be great to see the state reintroduce some incentives now that they've removed the stamp duty subsidy.
We're all open to supporting the increase in the uptake when it comes to EV vehicle use.
Despite these issues, experts predict our roads will look very different in the near future.
I would say in the next 5 years we'd turn around here and the majority of the cars we'd be looking at would be EVs.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
To local soccer, and South Hobart says it still has unfinished business this season after claiming the Women's Super League title with a 5-0 win on Friday. South are undefeated with players keen for it to stay that way.
Would show that we are the best team in the league and that, you know, it wasn't down to the wire or it wasn't down to a few lucky games.
In the NPL, Kingborough is targeting a top 4 finish after scoring their 4th win in a row. The coach says the team's style is beginning to take shape.
Sometimes it just takes time when trying to demonstrate behaviours to develop a level of consistency. It's not always probably linear.
The Lions play Launceston City next round. It's time now to check the Crips TSL Player of the Year votes. Around 18, Keegan Ryan was best on ground in Clarence' demolition of bitter rivalries Gawlerki. Eddie Cole scored the top votes in the Tigers' win over fellow flag contenders Launceston, while Lauderdale's Sam Siggins added 3 to his tally, despite his side going down to North Launceston. The result means Sam Siggins now shares a lead with Ben Simpson, Kingboro's Jack Tomkinson in 3 votes behind the duo, while Lachlan Clifford and Alex Lee are also still in contention. And the Jack Jumpers have started their pre-season away from the basketball port and in the community. The group spending time with a number of the club's sponsors and their staff, from delivering food to picking apples. The players were put through their paces on the tools. Coach Scott Roth says the activity will set the tone for the new season.
It also gives them a good representation of what we're expecting from our group and again, to represent the island, defend the island for Tasmanians.
It just reminds us that when we're going to practice, we should be thankful that we are able to play basketball for a living, and you literally just pass it on to the guy next to us.
Pre-season returns to the court later this week, and great to see the Jack Jumpers back together, Lou. Looking forward to seeing them hit the court very soon.
Good evening. Our below average temperatures continued today. Hobart and Burnie made it to 12. Launceston and Devonport fared slightly better. 14 was the top at Friendly Beaches after widespread frost this morning. Lyawini, Ross, Tunnock and Fingal all -5. Strawn, Low Head and King Island 13. Flinders Island, St Helens Grove and Bushy Park all reached 12. Might have been cold, but most parts found a fine sunny day today. A little bit of cloud did drift over the northwest, the west and parts of the northeast. Some higher level cloud over southern and inland sections of the mainland, otherwise clear on the North Island today. Tomorrow, the high pressure zone dominates the scene. A large cold front is there to the south of Western Australia. The cold west-southwesterly breezes will tend northwesterly ahead of an increase to 20 knots tomorrow. The one warning is, once again, about a frost. A frost warning has been issued across a large portion of Tasmania for another crispy start in the morning. As it will be, Hobart, 2 overnight, 13 the top tomorrow, partly cloudy for Adventure Bay, -2 for Tarraleah, a top of 9 tomorrow. Launceston a cold start, 13 the high, morning frost as well for Devonport, Bridport a top of just 12. Burnie expecting a high of 12, morning frost, partly cloudy afternoon, 12 for Strawn and Marrawar. And along the east coast tomorrow, 13 for St Helens, 14 the top for Swansea, partly cloudy weather for Whitemark on Flinders as well. On Wednesday, patchy morning frost, fine and mostly cloudy with a shower just over the west and northwest late in the day. Showers all over on Thursday, snow to 800 metres and small hail in the south. Showers again into Friday, more frequent over the north and west, winds shifting back southwesterly. Showers and 19 in Perth tomorrow, a sunny 17 in Adelaide, just 14 the top in Melbourne tomorrow, but fine. Showers easing from Sydney, partly cloudy and 27 in Brisbane, and sunny and warm over the top end. Partly cloudy, 8 degrees in Hobart, 6 degrees in Launceston, Devonport cloudy at the moment, and 7 the way the weather is right now, Louise. I think we're getting reminded that it's still winter for a little while yet.
I was wondering whether you were going to fix the weather for us, Murph. Hopefully we can do that next week. Thanks for that. That's all your news for now. I'll be back later with updates and we'll see you again tomorrow, of course, as well. Thanks for joining us. Good night.